great, bring me cherry pops, or video.
We have found ourselves in a very quiet-ish corner of E3, I should say, to have a look at Bluestick. Vicktor, thanks very much for joining us here.
My pleasure.
How are you guys doing? How's E3 for you?
E3 has been amazing. We're here to basically just show the game to the players and the journalists and see how they react. And I've been overwhelmed by the positive feedback. It's such a joy to see people laughing at the jokes that we're so used to for 2 years and we no longer found funny. And we're like, oh, maybe we're fooling ourselves. And then people actually laugh, and it's like, hey, yeah, they are actually funny. So,
yeah, well, what's the slice of gameplay then we're seeing here?
Well, we're trying something which is old and new at the same time. We're big fans of light gun rail shooters, such as Time Crisis and House of the Dead, and we wanted to bring that to players again with a completely new experience. So what we did is we turned the PlayStation 4 DualShock controller into a light gun using the gyroscope. So it is not a move. It is not anything else. It's what you already have. You just didn't know you have a light gun.
It's nice to sell that because I guess with the young rail shooters like Time Crisis, like Virtua Cop, the old classics, even House of the Dead, it's always, you want to experience this, have to spend an extra $60, $70 on top of that.
Well, so with our stuff, if you bought a PS4, you already have it. So nothing extra needed. And our little independent game goes for $19.99, so it's not a big stretch.
I was going to say, with the stylization of it, like you said, it's very comedic as well. I mean, with that approach, that was pretty much you guys from the start. You wanted to have that element. What came first, the light gun or the comedy idea?
Well, Blue Estate originally was a comic book. It was published about 2 years ago, and I'm behind it. And so we wanted to make it a game. Yeah. And we love the universe, we love the characters, the dark comedy, and thinking about what kind of genre it will fit. I mean, with all the guns in the comic, it obviously has to be a shooter. But we wanted to make comedy. And to make comedy, you have to, timing is everything. So the genre that actually gave us camera and timing is rail shooter. So we naturally went to that. Plus, we love rail shooters. And I know some people will say, but that's an old thing. But, a good product is a good product. And when we were kids, we had a lot of fun. So why shouldn't the kids nowadays have the same fun we did with next-gen consoles? So and then that's where the game came from.
Okay, well, with the storyline for the game, does it lift directly from the comic? Is it a new storyline? How have you approached that?
It is a new story in the same universe with some of the main characters from the comic. So you don't have to have read the comic to enjoy the story, and vice versa. But if you have read the comics, there's so many little details that you'll be like, oh, no way, and you'll get the connections and it'll be extra funny.
And the visual style as well, again, does that reflect, was that what you're trying to get, like to reflect the comic book rather than anything different?
What we're really going for with the style was I wanted realism with extra pumped colors and a really bold statement of illustration, which comes from big brushstrokes in the background and some dot patterns that are placed really abstract in the environment, and they show up and disappear as you move through spaces. So you don't always notice them, but you kind of feel that something is different, and everybody says, well, there's a very highly stylized look to it. But if you look, that's actually pretty realistic looking. It's the things that you don't see that just show up and disappear all the time that make you feel like there's something really style about it, but you can't really nail it, and that's what it is.
But that's the great thing about that sort of comic book art, that sort of hyper-realized thing, where it is timeless. This game will look as fantastic 10 years from now as it does now.
Well, I hope so. We're again, we're the underdog here. We're a small independent studio. Obviously, our budget is not, tens of artists, working on this. We're like 3 people, so. And we did our best, so I hope that we based the art choices on strong light and composition, good color balance. So I hope this is going to carry for a long time because it's not based on fashion, it's based on just good choices on these things.
Sort of mentioning it obviously being a sort of indie effort. I mean, how do you guys approach funding it? I mean, the usual thing, you hear indie nowadays, you think Kickstarter. I mean, how was the whole process for you? What did you do?
We basically got funded by private investors, and they've been absolutely amazing for leaving us alone and trusting us and saying do whatever you want to do. So there was absolutely nobody to hang over us and say you can't do that. So we did exactly what we wanted to do.
And this is the light gun game for you. This is the light gun game for the fans of the comic.
Yes, I believe so, because first when I try to explain it and people sort of don't believe me much, and then I say, well, just hold it for a second, and in about 5 to 10 seconds you see their faces change. So that's why we're releasing a free demo, and I encourage everyone, to just download it and try it, because you'll see that suddenly it's really, really precise, and you'll be really nicely surprised.
Okay, free demos available then on PS4. Game available at the same time, or when can people get hands on the full thing?
Yes. The demo is going to be available the moment the game comes out, which is in a couple of weeks or so. So it's like right around the corner. It's coming.
I love how in fact this man is just so chilled out. Is this because you guys are pretty much done with the game now? You can just be really relaxed?
Why I'm chilled? 2 years ago, we were at zero. We were in an empty room with a bunch of tables and a bunch of cool guys with an idea. Here we are today. Game's coming out in tours. I think we did pretty well. And we had absolutely nothing. We had no tools. We were with Unreal 3, bare bones, no extra rendering. All you see is just clever choices of lighting and colors.
What was your experience before that, before you started this project? What was the experience of the guys? Where are they coming from?
All of us are pretty much senior people. Like, this is probably the best team I've ever worked with. We're based in France, so everybody's French. And besides their English accents, they're excellent people. I love these guys.
Well, that leads to the question then, how are you going to celebrate when the game comes out? Have you got anything big planned? Is it just a couple of bottle of bubbly and that's it?
I think it's going to be, of course, a celebration, but this entire project has been laughing our asses off every day for 2 years, so we've been celebrating from the beginning. It's a lot of joy. We had so much fun doing it, and honestly, we're not tired. So that's a good sign. I still find myself enjoying playing it, so yeah, and also I'm chilled because everybody loves the game so far, so it's a really good thing.
Okay, I'm going to ask you, given the whole comedy aspect of it, what's your personal favorite joke in the game, or personal favorite moment? On the spot right now.
I don't know. I have too many, and at some point, there's in 3 of the levels, one of the characters, Clarence, who is probably the only decent man in the entire thing. He's an ex-Navy SEAL who comes home, and the only job he can find is at Wolfart for $6 an hour. But that's not going to solve his problem of his mom's house being for foreclosure, and he needs 75 grand to save the house. So he finds a war that's hiring, and it's basically the LA mob needing someone to finish a war that has started. Unfortunately for this very decent professional trained man, suddenly he has to work with 2 complete idiots, Lino and Mauro from the Italian mob, who are giving him really serious intel on his headset, and it's just the whole comedy around these guys trying to sound professional. At some point, somebody says, are you sure you can operate this thing? And he goes, of course I'm sure. It ain't rocket surgery. Of course I'm sure. So it's probably not the best joke. So I probably blew my chance of blowing your minds with great jokes. But too many jokes right now to think of it.
Basically, get the demo, have a chuckle. If you like it, pay it.
Yeah, basically, just try it out, see for yourself. It's a lot of fun. We don't take ourselves seriously. You shouldn't either. And just laugh with us at the big things. We make fun of North Korean dictators. We make fun of big fast food chains. There's a whole level in a factory owned by OKFC, tastes like chicken. And it's just a ton of ridiculousness all over the place.
Listen, Vicktor, thanks very much for taking the time. Have a good E3.
Thank you.